Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Peter Lorre in an episode of Mystery in the Air from September 4th, 1947, and a wax museum tale, The Mask of Medussa.
Mystery in the Air, starring Peter Lorre.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you will inspect the 47 wax images you see before you, I think you will admit that they are more lifelike, more startlingly real than any you have ever seen before. But the greatest interest lies in the fact that each one of these figures is a fiendish, sadistic murderer. But come, I begin at the end of the line and describe their horrible crimes.
Yes, there he goes again, telling people all the bad things we did. Oh, it's terrible, being nothing but figures in a wax museum. People staring at us all day long, and not one of them, not one ever suspects that we are still alive.
Peter Lorre in the excitement of the great stories of the strange and unusual, of dark and compelling masterpieces culled from the four corners of world literature. Tonight, The Mask of Medussa by Nelson Bond.
Mystery in the Air, starring Peter Lorre. So, Greta, how do you like this little fellow, huh?
Oh, he's nice, Carl. I don't believe he ever did anything wrong.
You women, always the same. You heard the lecturer say that every one of these figures is the likeness of a real murder. Maybe this little angel poisoned his wife, eh?
I don't believe it. He is too innocent looking.
Oh, they always are.
Except his eyes. They go right through me.
Come on,
those
before...
idiots and morons. Can't they see I'm still... No, I suppose not. But I'd like to be alive again. Oh, alive again. I'm alive right now, but I'd be better off dead. I can hear, I can see, I can feel, I can think, but I cannot move. I cannot move at all. No matter how
and now,
I
ladies
try.
and gentlemen, if you will regard these recent specimens, and if I may say so myself, they're masterpieces. What's the matter, madam?
That strange-looking little one. I was watching him, and he moved his eyes.
Thank you, madam. That's a true compliment to my artistry. But I assure you, the gentleman did not move his eyes. That would be utterly impossible. He is made of wax and other substances known only to myself.
Rubbish. I'm English, my man, and you can't bamboozle me.
I'm sorry if the realism of my exhibits has played tricks with your imagination.
Imagination fiddlesticks. I tell you
If
that
you
I thought...
doubt that my exhibit is exactly as represented, madam, may I return your price of admission?
Oh.
Here you are.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Now, perhaps if I might suggest a little fresh air.
Well, I do feel a bit faint. All these ghastly crimes, you know.
Of course.
I believe I'll go and have a cup of tea.
To resume, ladies and gentlemen, if you will step over this way, please, you will see exhibit number 3, the infamous hatchet woman of...
This way, exhibit 3. Just listen to him. Day in, day out, we stand here while he talks and talks and talks about us. Oh, he's so boring. All he talks about are those silly incidental murders we committed. Why doesn't he talk how we did them, huh? Well, he and this room are some of the greatest artists in their lines, the world has ever known. For example, just look at the ones on each side of me. Here to my left. That's Paul, yes. Oh, he was the most skillful man with a scalpel in Prague. He was wonderful. Even today, they haven't found all the pieces of the bodies he carved up now. And on my right is the beautiful, beautiful Magda. She always killed with a Luger. She used but one bullet to her husband, and she did away with 5 of them. Yes, indeed, it's an honor to stand between such exquisite artists. And as for me, I can hardly believe it was only 3 days ago that I came in here of my own free will. My own free will.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
You wish to see my wax figures?
Wax figures?
Yes. All around you.
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course. And you mean to see... You mean all these people are wax?
But certainly.
You know, for a moment, I thought they were alive.
A very natural mistake.
It is, huh? Wait.
By the way, is anything the matter? You seem nervous.
I'm not
What's
nervous.
the matter with you?
Didn't you hear me? I don't know. That's ugly sound. What is that? Yes, it's gone. I don't like it. Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm sure you want to close up. I'll go now. Perhaps some other time I'll be back.
It is never too late to show my masterpieces.
Huh?
But first, I'll lock the door and draw the shades.
Wait.
There. Now then, you don't have to be afraid of being seen.
Afraid? Why should I be afraid, huh?
I don't know. Why should anyone be afraid?
I don't know. Well, I'm in no hurry. Well, I suppose since I'm here, I might as well...
Look over my collection?
Yes, why not?
Good. Permit me to introduce myself. I am Aristide Zweig, owner of this exhibit, artist and connoisseur of crime.
Artist and connoisseur of crime? That's an odd combination, isn't
Not
it?
at all, as you shall see. Suppose we begin here. Do you, by any chance, recognize this one?
This one? No, but he's very ugly.
Roger Saunders, Englishman, a poisoner, not very imaginative. Next to him here is Nicholas Rodriguez. He killed with the knife.
Wait a minute.
And over here... What's the matter?
Tell me, these people, they all have a strange look.
Strange?
Yes,
How?
it's as if they had just seen something horrible, and then their faces froze. And
Perhaps they did see something that made them realize the horror of their crimes.
The crimes. Are these all criminals?
Every one. All 46 of them. Murderers.
You must be very interested in murder to get up a collection like this.
Oh, but I am. It is my mission.
Oh, your mission? What are you talking about?
Murder. Murder, that most horrible of crimes.
Yes.
I hate it. I loathe and despise its perpetrators.
That's fine.
It is my mission to show the world these fiends in human form, to display them in all their brutal bestiality,
Yes.
that men may view them, tremble, and take heed.
I see. And
Yes.
Where do you get your specimen? From the morgue?
Not from the morgue.
No.
I get them here, there, wherever I can find them.
Oh, no,
Usually
no.
I have to go out and look for them. As a matter of fact, there is one now I would like to have very much.
Oh, you would?
For my 47 specimen.
Oh.
Yes, he murdered a defenseless old woman quite near here. Not half an hour ago it was. I heard it over my radio.
Yeah.
He brutally murdered her and took her life savings.
Yes. Did they catch him?
Not yet. But they will.
Yes.
They're watching all the roads. And besides that, the old woman's money was in old bills.
Oh, right.
So old it is now out of circulation. When he tries to pass it, they will know. And if they don't catch him, I will.
You will. You, huh?
Yes. Murder must be avenged and exposed by one means or another.
Oh, yes.
But forgive me for going on like this.
That's
Sometimes
all
I
right.
get carried away. Let's get back to this next figure. A most interesting case. This man, Hans Schneider, who murdered by air embolism.
This is
Yes.
Schneider? Hans Schneider?
Yes.
Look, I knew him. He disappeared. He was never captured. He wasn't even suspected.
None
What are
of
you
them
talking
were.
about? How did you get them here?
I told you, sir, I am an artist. I have my own methods of reproducing their likenesses.
Wait a minute. Tell me, is that a model of Schneider, or is that Schneider himself?
How in the world did you happen to guess? You're quite correct. It is Schneider.
But this is monstrous.
Not at all. You just do not understand.
Yes, I do. I understand you. You dirty hypocrite. You say you hate murder, and yet you've killed everyone in this room, you.
No, I didn't kill them.
How did you do it, huh? Poison, knife, or did you dip them into boiling wax alive?
None of those things. They're not dead.
They're not dead, huh? What did you say?
They're not dead. They're simply in a state of permanent suspended animation.
Suspended animation? Are you mad? Are you insane?
It's true. I just let them look, and that's what happened.
You let them look at what?
Did you ever hear of the Gorgon's head?
What?
The head of Medusa.
Medusa, yes, of course. I went to school and I studied Greek mythology. Of course, Medusa was a very beautiful woman,
yes.
and she offended Athena, and Athena changed her hair into snakes and made her face very hideous and so horrible that all who looked on her were turned to stone. And later, I think Perseus cut off her head.
You're right. And the severed head could still turn men to stone.
Yes, I know, but that was a long time ago.
Would you care to look upon it?
What are you talking about?
Oh, it's here. The mask of Medusa was found long ago in a wild, lost grotto in Greece. Where and how does not matter, but it has been the means of fulfilling my sacred mission, the destruction, the cleansing of the world of those who slay their fellow men.
Now I know you're mad.
Perhaps I am the only sane one in a world gone mad.
Oh, sure. Tell me, sir, this mask, what does it look like?
Oh, I have never seen it myself. The native who gave it to me warned me. I do not dare look.
Oh, no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. See, listen, suppose, Mr. Twag, we talk a little business, you and me, huh?
What do you want?
I want your help to get me out of town.
How can I help you?
Well, that's very simple. Nobody suspects you. That is, nobody but me. You put me in a crate like one of these 46 models you're so proud of and send it off in a truck. Simple, huh?
But why? Why should I do this?
Why? Because you fear the police as much as I do.
You fear the police? You are a murderer.
I didn't say that.
You are a murderer.
No more than you are.
But I didn't kill them. I told you I didn't kill them.
Yes, you told me. It's a fine story, but who is going to believe it? Police?
Yes.
No, sir, no. If the police come here, and I'll make sure that they'll come here.
It would take money.
Money. Here is money, all the money you need when I talk.
I thought so.
Why?
That money, those old bills. So it was you. You were the one who murdered the old woman and took her savings. I thought so all along. Yes, I thought so.
Stupid woman, if she hadn't resisted me,
Wait. I have something in this cabinet. I want to show you.
Look, no tricks. You hear me or the police comes in. Hey, what's in that sack?
I didn't want to do this. I never want to do it, but it must be done.
You don't want to do
Look, murderer, upon the crimson mask of Medusa.
About, you
yes,
insane?
look upon the mask of Medusa.
My legs.
Look.
My hands.
Look. Now, I have number 47.
In a few moments, Mr. Peter Lorre will bring us the climax of tonight's Mystery in the Air.
September 4th, 1947, Mystery in the Air on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to MediShare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And MediShare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. MediShare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it. Find out why they rave about the customer service, and Find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Camel sponsored Mystery in the Air on 2 summer occasions, 1945 series, which we have no recordings of whatsoever, and this 1947 series with Peter Lorre, which we have most all of the copies of. Mystery in the Air, starring Peter Lorre, September 4th, 1947 on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Now a new crowd is viewing the attractions of Aristide Zweig's Wax Museum. The lifelike, living but not breathing images of the 47 murderers.
Oh, come, Hilda. Let's go outside. I don't like this place.
Wait, here's one we didn't see.
I don't know how you can stand there looking at them. The murderers. And their faces.
This little one isn't so bad. If he was alive, I could go for him.
No, he's horrible. Come on, I can't.
Oh, I could crush her skull. Stupid idiots. No, it is not pleasant to be stared at day after day by people who know nothing of life or death, at least not as we know it. The living dead, yes, that's what we are, and he is responsible. Oh, if we could only somehow get back to normal, even for a little bit. Oh, what we could do, all of us, what we could do. Now it's midnight. It's very still, but something odd is happening. Just a little while ago, my mind was blank. I wasn't thinking about anything, but suddenly a thought came into my head. Yes, suddenly, out of nowhere.
Yes, we can project.
There it is again.
Thoughts if we try.
Who is what?
Magda, standing next to you.
Yes?
Think hard.
Yeah.
If we all think together, perhaps we can make somebody help us.
Yes, of course. Oh, that's wonderful, Magda.
Think hard.
She's wonderful, of course. 47 minds trained in crime, all concentrating at once on somebody who comes in here to look. If we try hard enough, we could make him do anything. Maybe we could get him to... No, that's too much to expect, but still... Yes, another day has started, but today I have a feeling of excitement. All night long, we concentrated, and our thoughts were getting stronger and stronger. I'm convinced Magda has gotten through to everyone. I have a feeling that something is going to happen, and just a little while ago there came a thought.
Zweig is upstairs in his room.
Yeah?
We must watch the door. When the right one comes, we shall know it at once. Be ready.
I'm ready. Whatever is going to happen, I'm ready. There, the door is opening. Maybe this is it.
Father, I'm frightened. I do not wish to look.
It won't hurt you, Ilsa. Teach you maybe to get over your stupid fears. I should look at these figures, every one of them. Do you understand?
Yes, Father.
Now, where is that lecturer? He should be here. I will find him so that he can tell you all about these criminals.
Think hard.
Yes. There's no doubt of it. This little Ilse. Oh, she's the one, yes. She's the one we've been waiting for. She's the kind of mind we need, yes. Oh, How exciting. How exciting. Thoughts are coming in very strong. Keep thinking, Magda.
Matches and fire.
We can't be free unless something happens to that horrible mask of Medusa over there in that cabinet. If something could happen to that, the spell might be broken. Magda, what are you thinking?
Matches and fire. Matches and fire.
Yes, I've got it. Of course I've got it, yes.
Matches and
fire. Matches and fire.
Father!
Matches and
Father, where are you?
Matches
strange.
Fire. Fire.
I beg your pardon. Have you seen my daughter? She was here a minute ago. A thin girl, about 16.
I have not seen her.
I saw her just now over there by that cabinet, I think it was. She had a box of matches in her hand.
It's worked. All our trained evil minds concentrating on that one small mind. Oh, we simply overwhelmed it. Poor little Ilse, she'll never know why she started that fire. Oh, but it's a big, wonderful fire, and the cabinet is burning. It's burning, and... What is that? Something is happening. I've just been able to move the little finger in my left hand. Yes, we can move.
September 4th, 1947, Mystery in the Air on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Mystery in the Air, The Mask of Medussa, September 4th, 1947.
Yes, we are free. We can move. All of us. We are moving. We, the walking dead. Everyone is moving swiftly through the flames. Oh, they can't hurt us. Towards the stairs, yes. Oh, we are a horrible company. Oh, how exciting! White faces, clear. The flames, 47 we are. Murderous, all of us. Surging forward to get the man we hate. Oh, yes, he's a murderer, but he's worse than we are. His victims stay alive. He condemned all 47 of us to a horrible, endless, living death. There, he's behind that door.
It's locked.
Come on, break it down. Break it down, you hear? Come on. Yes, we've got him.
What have you done to it?
What have we done? We have taken care of your Medusa. Yes, we have, Aristide. Now we'll take care of you.
No, please, don't.
Yes,
I will help you. You don't know the mask, you fools.
No.
I'll help you. You haven't got much time. I'll help you.
The mask is coming.
Yes, it's Medusa. It's coming up the stairs. After us.
Kill Zweig. At least we can kill Zweig.
Wait. I have a plan. Get away from that door. Let me get there.
It is here. Close your eyes.
Look. Don't look at it.
Too late. They looked, and now they're all gone. All but you and I.
Yes.
Everybody's gone back as they were before.
Yes, they're gone. All gone, but you and I. You and I.
What are you going to do?
I'll show you what I'm going to do. Here. Look, Aristide.
What?
Look here. You hear me?
No.
Yes.
No,
You opened your eyes.
No,
yes, you saw it. Keep looking. You're looking at the crimson mask of Medusa. Oh, look. Your feet. Oh, well, I know it. Look at your legs, your hands. Oh, you can't. You're not even able to talk anymore. Yes, you. Now you have looked upon the mask of Medusa, you idiot, you. I forgot. I looked at it, too. Well, here we are, back again, yes, all of us. The finest criminal minds in the world. Oh, it's the elite, the cream of crime. Now we are just wax figures in a sideshow. Yes, but now there are 48 of us. Oh, I suppose we should feel honored to have with us the great Aristide Zweig. This way he looks quite natural, yes. Standing over there between Schneider and Paul. And at least he doesn't bore me anymore with his silly, stupid lectures. No, now he doesn't talk at all. Someone called Albert is running the exhibit now. Oh, poor Albert. He's an imbecile. Albert doesn't know there was a mask of Medusa. Oh, we are much more intelligent than poor Albert. He doesn't even know that we are still alive.
September 4th, 1947, Peter Lorre, Mystery in the Air on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Part 2 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Curse of Kamashek Matter. This episode originally broadcast September 4th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
I have your call to Stamford, sir.
Oh, thank you, operator. Hello?
Oh, Mr. Dollar, I'm so glad you've called.
Well, you seem pretty anxious to talk about something, Miss Harkness.
I am, about Donald and his uncle, and Donald's plan for the expedition to Egypt.
To dig up the remains of the old Pharaoh Kamashek?
Yes. Can you come over here to see me, please?
Oh, when I talked to you on the station platform a while ago, you said something about the Curse of Kamashek.
Yes, Mr. Dollar.
Isn't that nothing more nor less than superstition?
No.
Huh?
I'm afraid that in this case, Mr. Dollar, it can mean nothing more nor less than murder.
I'll take the first train.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Inter-Allied Life Insurance Company, Crutchfield Square, Hartford, Connecticut. Assignment, The Curse of Kamashek Matter. Expense account continued. Item 4, 320, cab to the station, train fare from Hartford to Stamford, and cab to the modest but attractive apartment of Dorothy Harkness. The short trip gave me time to think. Eric Turnbull, wealthy retired businessman, called me in on this case. Turnbull, uncle of young Donald Cronin, entirely in control of a large trust fund for the boy. Turnbull, who was determined to prevent him from making an expedition to the tomb of Kamashek, on the excuse that he suspected a plot against the boy's life. Engineered by Dorothy Harkness, who was not only Donald's fiancée, but a beneficiary of his $100,000 life policy. So a talk with Dorothy Harkness seemed very much in order.
Oh, come in, Mr. Dollar. I'm so glad you were willing to come and talk with me.
How are you, Miss Harkness?
You make me sound so old. It's Dorothy. Won't you sit down?
Thank you. But before we go any further, Dorothy, I think you ought to understand that I'm an insurance investigator, and so far...
I know that. Donald told me his uncle was going to send for you.
But there's been no claim filed, no reason for one.
I know. Mr. Turnbull does, well, kind of unusual things now and then, and I guess this is one of them.
Unless he's trying to prevent whatever might cause a claim to be filed.
Mr. Dollar, I don't know what Mr. Turnbull has told you about me, but I'm sure it wasn't good. I'm afraid we don't get along very well.
Well, it's pretty obvious he doesn't like your interest in his nephew, Donald.
I've known Donald since school, Mr. Dollar, and we hope to get married. At least Donald does.
Oh? And what about you?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I got the impression from Mr. Turnbull you were doing a pretty good job of getting Donald into your clutches.
That isn't the way it is at all. We've been seeing a great deal of each other, and Donald has asked me to marry him. And I'm fond of him, Mr. Dollar, terribly fond of him. But so far as marriage is concerned, I'm not sure.
What do you mean?
I can't help wondering all the time if he isn't hoping to marry me just as an escape from his uncle.
Uh-huh. Would you marry him?
If I were sure of him.
You'd be sure of an awful lot of money, Dorothy.
What?
The minute he reached 30, that is.
Mr. Turnbull has poisoned your mind, Mr. Dollar. What money Donald has or may have has nothing to do with it. That sort of thinking is filthy.
I guess you mean that, don't you, Dorothy?
Yes. I think I've loved Donald ever since my father brought him into the museum.
Your father?
Yes, he's curator of archaeology.
Well, how does he feel about Donald and you?
His only interest in Donald is in the money, the financial support he gives the museum.
Oh.
Since Mother died, he's become a grasping, self-centered old man whose only interest is in the museum.
I see.
So I don't live with him anymore.
Well, then I take it he opposes any thought of your marrying Donald.
He wants me to string him along for his money and scientific contributions. But Donald is making something of himself, instead of wasting his life in idle luxury as Mr. Turnbull would have it.
Or would he rather have Don increase the family fortune?
No, just not spend it. That's all he cares about. So if anything should happen to Donald, there would be more left for Mr. Eric Turnbull. And that's why I called you. Because I'm afraid that if Donald does go on this expedition to Egypt, something will happen to him.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Turnbull has objected strenuously to this latest expedition.
You don't know them yet. Either of them. They're of the same stock, and they're both stubborn, determined, and willful, and his uncle is clever. Clever enough to play on this stubbornness. Capitalize on it.
What's that supposed to mean?
He knows that the surest way to keep Donald from doing something is to insist that he do it. It's always been that way.
Are you sure you haven't been reading too much psychology?
It's true. And in spite of Donald's academic maturity, he's almost like a child in some things, emotional sometimes. That's another reason why I wonder if Donald really wants to marry me. If he loves me enough. Or if he's simply rebelling against his uncle.
You feel, then, that Mr. Turnbull is opposing the expedition to be sure that Donald will make it?
Yes. Because he doesn't quietly reason with Donald, talk things out. He shouts, he storms, he threatens.
And that gets Don's back hair up, huh?
It makes him more determined to go than ever. Wouldn't it do the same to you?
Maybe so.
And I'm afraid that if he does go, he'll never come back.
You honestly don't want him to go?
No.
Just what do you think might happen to him? This Curse of Kamashek you mentioned?
I think that would be the excuse for his uncle to have something happen to him.
Well, what is this curse?
Do you remember King Tutankhamun?
Well, I remember hearing and reading something about him, old Egyptian pharaoh.
His tomb had a curse on it, too. But because they believed it would yield important historical data and some of the treasure of those ancient dynasties, an expedition went to the Valley of the Kings and excavated it anyhow.
You're really hip on this stuff, aren't you?
Because of Donald's interest in it, I guess. But listen to me. One after another, people who were involved in that expedition died under very mysterious circumstances.
Yeah, I remember. Even Lord Carnarvon himself.
They said that he died from the results of a mosquito bite and pneumonia. But the other deaths were not so easily explained away. Not even by able scientists and doctors.
You believe in the Curse of King Tut, then? And now the Curse of Kamashek?
No, I don't.
But from what you just told me...
There have been too many other tombs, all bearing warnings, where the people who dug into them, touched the treasures in them, even touched the remains of the kings, had no harm at all come to them.
Well, then I'm afraid I don't see what you're driving at.
This, Johnny. Any mysterious death of someone who's explored one of these ancient tombs will be accepted as a result of the curse. Don't you see? It's an open door to murder.
You know something? To me, it all sounds a little far-fetched.
No. Because of Eric Turnbull. Because I'm sure he wants Donald out of the way.
For his money?
This terrible friction between them, this antagonism that's been building up for years. And it's reached a point where either one of them would be glad to see the other out of the way. But Eric Turnbull is the only one who's evil enough to do something about it.
Well, I gotta admit, the sparks kind of flew between them when I saw them together.
And don't forget, it would be to his uncle's advantage if Donald were to die.
He needs the money?
Well, no, I guess he doesn't.
Well, what about you?
I'm doing all right at the museum. I'm earning enough to live on, and I'm happy in my work.
Just the same, as I understand it, you'd collect half of Donald's life policy.
I hate you for even thinking about such a thing. I'd hoped you would help me save Donald's life.
Funny, though, isn't it?
Funny.
Eric Turnbull is my employer in this case. If there really is a case.
Because he's smart. He's clever. He's clever enough to know that calling you in would help cover up anything he might do.
All right, look. Suppose Eric Turnbull did plan to get rid of Donald. How?
I don't know. But this I do know. And it's the thing that has scared me. On his last expedition, and he didn't realize it until afterwards, one of the men in his party, a man he'd selected himself, turned out to have been paid separately by Mr. Turnbull.
Why not? He probably wanted somebody there to look after Donald without his knowing.
Listen to me. This man caused a couple of accidents. At least they called them accidents. That could have cost Donald his life.
Oh, now, Dorothy, look.
No,
please.
no. No, I can see that you don't believe anything I've told you.
Dorothy, I think you're just building up something in your imagination.
You don't believe me. But at least do this. Remember, no matter what happens, remember what I've told you.
Somebody was lying. That was a cinch. But who? And why? Unless one of them really was plotting against the life of Donald Cronin. I couldn't get it out of my head that at least Eric Turnbull didn't need whatever money would come from Donald's death. Dorothy Harkness, on the other hand, would gain what to her would be plenty. Sure, nearly $1 million would go to Turnbull, but that would mean much less to him than the $50,000 insurance would to her. Well, there seemed to be nothing more to say to her at the moment, so I left her, took a cab back to the station. That's item 5, 65 cents, and telephoned to the house on Birchbrook Road in the hope that Donald would be home and I'd have a chance to talk to him.
Hello?
Oh, Mr. Turnbull, this is Johnny Dollar.
Oh, splendid. Where are you?
Well, I'm at the station, but I was calling to try and...
Splendid. Haskins will drive the car down to meet you immediately.
Well, now...
I knew that if you thought it over, you'd be willing to take on this case.
Yeah, sure.
You just wait right there. Haskins will be along in a few minutes. Goodbye.
Come in, Mr. Dollar.
Well, thank you, but before we talk about this...
Sit down, won't you? Now, from what I've been able to learn, Donald is planning to leave for Egypt immediately. I checked with a friend at the Explorers Club in New York, where the boy's been staying these past few days.
Oh, I thought he always stayed right here with you.
Well, he does, except when he's preparing for an expedition.
Then you are going to let him go.
Well, how can I stop him without making him look foolish in the eyes of his colleagues, the museum, the universities who are so interested in his work? Yes, I have to let him go. But with you beside him there...
Oh, wait a minute.
Of course, I'll expect you to be with him during the entire expedition.
Well, now, look,
And remember this, no expense is to be spared in the protection of my nephew's life. I had to go down to New York to see David Wilt. He's my stockbroker, Harris Dillman Company. While I was there, I stopped at my bank and arranged to have some 5,000 in American Express traveler's checks ready for you. All you have to do is go down there and sign them and pick them up. If you need more, cable me.
You don't waste any time, do you?
I know Donald. He's very stubborn, determined, and willful. In his present frame of mind, he might pack up and take off at a moment's notice. I want to be sure you're at his side.
Okay, you're the boss. But, Mr. Turnbull...
Yes?
You still haven't told me why you think his life is in any more danger on this expedition than on any of the others he's undertaken.
Because that girl, Dorothy Harkness, is smart, is clever. And because of something that happened on Donald's last expedition in Yucatan.
Oh?
He didn't realize it until afterwards, but one of the men in his party, a man he'd selected himself, turned out to be a friend of this Dorothy Harkness.
Not 20 minutes ago, I heard exactly...
Now, listen to me. This man caused a couple of accidents. At least they called them accidents. That could have cost Donald his life. And Mr. Dollar, though lacking any proof, I am convinced he was put up to them by the beneficiary of his insurance policy, Dorothy Harkness.
Did I say somebody was lying? Somebody had to be lying. And by now, that old feeling was beginning to come back to me, that hunch, whatever it is, that told me somebody was planning to kill Donald. Eric Turnbull? Dorothy Harkness? Who? Something told me I'd better get to Donald Cronin, but fast.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, suddenly the reason for a carefully planned murder becomes crystal clear, and a race against death becomes a race for my own life. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone, who also wrote this week's story. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
September 4th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. If you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available at my webpage, classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows on demand. You can find out where you can download our shows. You can also learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can also find our social media links. You can contact me. And if you like what we do here and would like to help us acquire new collections of classic radio programs, you can do that by using the Buy Me a Coffee function. No, I don't drink coffee, but I will tell you this. By using that, we will go to various and sundry collectors and acquire upgraded copies and additional copies of great classic radio collections. That's the Buy Me a Coffee function at classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Would you thank this station and support their advertisers? And more importantly, tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.